Hi, it's Dot from dotstrot.com. I got my coffee grinder out, so that means it is part 2 of my spice series. And today I'm going to show you how easy it is to make your own rubs at home using whole spices. So come along and let's see how we put it all together. So on this installment of my rub series in making your own spices, I'm making something which I like to call my island jerk rub. Jerk because it is spicy. I'm using peppers. Granted, they're dried peppers, but I'm using a whole mess of them. But I call it an island rub simply because of the different types of spices that I'm actually using. And I'm using a combination of whole spices and ground spices. So let me give you an idea of what's going in them. I already mentioned the dried peppers. I'm using about, I'm making a triple or a quadruple batch, so I'm using way more peppers than I normally would, but this is going to last me for the summer, so awesome. But I'm for the whole ingredients, I'm using allspice berries. I'm using nutmeg, which I absolutely love how these smell. I'm using whole cinnamon sticks. I'm using peppercorns, and I'm using a tricolor peppercorn, so it's the green, red, and black peppercorns. And then I'm using these puppies, which basically are whole cloves. And again, those are great if you're making your own ham. You can just spike them right in there. As far as the ground ingredients, I'm using paprika, I'm using a kosher salt, I'm using cayenne pepper. Again, cayenne pepper and the whole peppers, it is a jerk, so it's supposed to be spicy. And I'm also using ground ginger. Now, sometimes I will use normally, I should say, I'll use garlic with this. However, because the dish I'm making tonight, I'm actually using whole garlic cloves, so I'm putting that in at a completely different time. So when I make this batch, I won't have the garlic. I'll just add it in later after I take what I need out for my recipes. But I'll have the full ingredients and how much for the quantities in the recipe below. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and dump in my ground spices into my mixing bowl. It's got that going. Now we're going to go ahead, since I'm using whole spices, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get out my coffee grinder because that's what we're going to use to grind this mess up. So let me put that aside. I'm going to take my lid off. And again, you also want to keep your pastry brush handy. Don't use this for basting chicken or anything or turkey. You really want to have a pastry brush just to clean out your coffee grinder when you're done using it for the spices. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add in my nutmeg. I'm going to add in my cloves, peppercorn, oops, and my allspice berry. I'm going to add in the cinnamon and the peppers a little bit later. This is actually getting pretty full, so I'm going to go ahead and just start grinding it up. All right, hold steady. And you just want to pulse it. Whoops. Let me get that lid on a little tighter. There we go, it's locked in. So again, you want to hold your top. If I didn't do that, it would have been flying off, and that's not a good thing. But you just want to, and you're gonna grind it to the consistency that you want. I try to get everything pretty much ground, but I don't like holding it down because I don't want it to turn to mush. So I'm gonna let you see what that looks like. You can see how I'm grinding it. You see how it's ground. Now, I'm not done. I can still see quite a few peppercorns in there that need to be grounded up, but I wanted to give you an idea of what it looks like. All right, I got the consistency that I want. I'm gonna go ahead and put this all in here. So you can see it's all mixed in. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start using my peppers. So let's get my grinder all set up, ready to go. And I'm going to put in my cinnamon sticks. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go get my cutting board and I'm going to cut these puppies because they're a little bit, actually, they're a good fit. I had some that were a little bit too long the last time, so I had to do that. So with that, I don't need my cutting board. Cool. But I am going to sort of fold up the peppers a little bit. All right, on second thought, I made the decision to go ahead and just cut the cinnamon sticks in half. I was worried that with the sticks being so long, I certainly didn't want them popping around a little bit too much in there and, you know, maybe breaking this a little bit more than it already is broke. And that was from a drop, not from any spices. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead. I have my cinnamon sticks in there. I'm gonna go ahead and add my peppers. Get them all in there. There, now it's locked in. And again, I do the same thing I did with the other spices. I just go ahead and I'm gonna hold that tight and I'm just gonna pulse it. And it really is, I'm pulsing it until I really break apart. The pepper's doing really good, and you're not really gonna get the pepper really much smaller than the seeds. But the cinnamon is really important. I like to make sure that's broken up. All right, I have everything all grounded up, the cinnamon and the pepper. I'm gonna go ahead and add that here. So I got everything added. And you want to mix it really well. And the nice thing about this is you can use it as a dry rub. I just rub it straight on the meat. This is actually a great recipe to use with pork and chicken. It just tastes absolutely wonderful. I'm making tonight some slow roasted chicken, and the reason why I didn't add any garlic to this is I'm going to use a few cloves of garlic. I'm going to mash them up, and after I put the rub on my whole bird, I then am going to rub on mashed up onion and garlic on top. And what's nice is that caramelizes the chicken, the meat, when you're slow cooking it, and it creates a nice bark without adding actual sugar that a lot of rubs do have. There, I have everything all mixed together now. Oh, it smells wonderful. I absolutely love this. I can't wait to put this on my chicken tonight. Now, keep in mind when you're doing these seasonings, they do have carbohydrates in them, so I'll have the carb count listed below this video, so you have a good idea, and also the serving size on this. A little goes a long way because the types of spices I'm using, they tend to be a little carbier than other spices, but nonetheless, this tastes absolutely wonderful. It's a great rub to put on meats. And also just to, sprinkle on dishes as well. It has a lot of heat to it. And the nice thing about it is when you're making your own rub, you control the heat factor. You can control how much of the spices you want to add in, but especially the heat. Like I said, I'm making a jerk and I like them spicy. So if you enjoy the video, why don't you go ahead and hit like, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and also let me know if you make your own spices or if you're going to try something like this, if you want to tweak it, if you're going to change it up, and how it goes. That'd be great to put in the comments below, as well as what you like to do to sort of to add rub or flavor to meats that you're cooking. So until then, I'll see you later.